Well, we've got a new alert just into CNN. A plane landing in Zimbabwe carrying the body of the former president, Robert Mugabe. Zimbabwe's government is making funeral plans while people there wrestle with how to remember this freedom fighter turned despot. Well, David McKenzie joins us from Johannesburg. And David, that is the issue really, is a brutal dictator but revered by some as a liberator. Just how will he be remembered over the coming days?
It's a complex story, and the legacy of Robert Mugabe is much contested. Just a short time ago, as you saw there, the body of the former leader of Zimbabwe arriving at the airport that actually bears his name, an honor guard that you're seeing there from the military. The current president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, saying that they'd lost the light that had led us into independence, and that light is no more. He called on Zimbabweans in their thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions to come out on the funeral on this weekend. When we were in Zimbabwe just a short while ago, the reaction was very muted in the capital, and the legacy of the violence was ever present.
He once claimed, "Zimbabwe is mine." But after Robert Mugabe's death, Zimbabweans showed they had already said goodbye. Headlines the only cue in an otherwise typical morning commute in Harare. For decades, his power seemed absolute. Many here believed Mugabe would rule to the end. Then in 2017, when his allies forced him out, Zimbabweans finally had hope. But the new Zimbabwe has been marked by the same hunger and joblessness. And when people protest for better conditions, they're once again met with violence.
They said, "You have been mocking the government in your skits." So they started beating me, like I was told to row in the sewage. I could row to this side, I could row there, beat me, come back here, row, and then I rowed back. They continued beating me.
Popular comedian Samantha Correa is terrified, badly bruised, and in hiding. An irreverent critic of the government on social media, she believed that with Mugabe gone, her satire would be safe. But after targeting police violence online, she says she was abducted at night by well-trained masked men.
They started beating me whilst I was naked. And they said, drink the water. I was forced to drink sewage water.
Has much changed since Mugabe left power?
Nothing has changed. You know, they're saying like in the new dispensation there's freedom of expression, there's what, but we do not have freedom.
People we've spoken to on the streets, some of them bore the brunt of violence of the Mugabe regime and onwards. What about that part of the legacy?
You see, when you say Mugabe regime, who was in charge of what when he was president? Are those people still around? Do we still see the violence after him? So is it fair to put the blame squarely on him because he was the president?
Confronted with the complications of his uncle's legacy, Mugabe's nephew blames the one-time deputies now in charge. But he says he and the local chiefs will work with the government to plan a hero's funeral.
Even if they turned on him, but they kept on saying he is the father of the nation. That bit, they didn't deny him.
So will you be mourning Robert Mugabe's death?
Yeah, it's our culture as Zimbabweans to mourn like the dead. Okay, there are mixed feelings. You know, the experiences that we are having like now are the same experiences that we had during his era. So, yeah, but we will mourn him. He was our president.
The father of a nation that may have moved on from the man, but still feels the legacy of his rule.
Well, Lynda, the government of Zimbabwe blames those spate of recent abductions, like you saw there, without providing evidence on, quote, disgruntled members of the old establishment. And you had that hugely ironic moment of celebration of the life of Robert Mugabe with that plane touching down and a military honor guard part of the military, of course, was instrumental in pushing him out in that apparent coup. Lynda?
Interesting report. We will be covering this over the coming days. David McKenzie in Johannesburg, thanks so much.